Welcome to Kozversations, where your host, Carl Kozlowski, talks with the world's most interesting people. And now, this week's Kozversation. Greetings, Earthlings. Welcome to another edition of Kozversations, where we bring you some of the most interesting people from the worlds of pop culture, politics, and beyond. And today I'm bringing you somebody that I'm a huge fan of. He's been a longtime supporter of Radio Titans, been a guest many times in studio. Today we'll be talking to him by phone. You know him and love him from such roles as Champ Kind in the Anchorman movies, as Todd Packer on NBC's The Office, countless other movies, TV shows, Saturday Night Live, Conan O'Brien show when he was on NBC, and currently he's in the cast of the hit CBS sitcom Superior Donuts. But today he'll be talking to us first and foremost about a very special event that he's helping out with at the Ice House Comedy Club next Sunday, February 11th at 5 p.m. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring you David Koechner. So, thanks for taking the time, Dave. I guess first thing I wanted to ask about is you're going to be doing a special show at the Ice House. It's America's oldest comedy club, for those that don't know it, out in Pasadena on Sunday for a really special cause. It's called Once Upon a Room, and I can either explain it briefly, or if you know enough about it, feel free to let people know.
Well, I'm hardly equipped to give it its full appreciative explanation, so I will leave that to you and Ron.
Okay, well, basically, I'm just going to let people know and then ask you about it. They provide there's a group of people, they volunteer and they decorate rooms at LA's Children's Hospital for kids that are going to be there for extended stays. And Ron Pearson, another comic, his daughter was in for a week after spinal surgery and was blessed with their help, and now she's doing this benefit to raise money for them. So, do you any thoughts about the cause, or do you do charity shows very often? I know you're a busy guy, so.
Well, I have one main charity. Well, two actually. The main charity I do is called Big Slick in Kansas City. Cool. We do it for Children's Mercy Hospital. It's Rob Riggle, Paul Rudd, Jason Sudeikis, Eric Stonestreet, and myself. We all host it, all from the area. And we bring in about 25 of our celebrity friends to Kansas City. We have a celebrity softball game. We visit the hospital and the children there twice. Then we have a celebrity bowling day, and then we have a huge show on Saturday night. We've been doing it for about, it's come up on 10 years.
Wow. And
yeah. So that's my main one. And the one I do in LA is called Children of the Night.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you've heard of it, where they help young girls between the ages of 11 and 17 get out of prostitution.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, well, I'm gonna touch on something related to that in a little bit in the interview, but because you did at least another project that's tied in with that kind of cause. But so I was wondering if you mind letting people know. How did you get your start? For those that aren't familiar, just know of you as just this hilarious guy out there.
Well, I moved to Chicago when I was 24 and started taking classes at the IO and the Second City simultaneously. And so I was very fortunate because classes weren't flooded back then like they are now. So I was on stage within 2 months. Whereas now when kids start taking improv classes, they're lucky to get on a regular show for 2 years. Jeez. So it was a time before improv had exploded. And so I was on stage, doing shows within 2 months, 4 times, 2 shows on Friday, 2 shows on Saturday. Plus you'd have 4 classes through the week. And that's really what it was all about. It was stage time. That's where I got my start there in Chicago.
So, and how long did it take you before you decided to make the move to L.A.? And what was? Well,
actually, I got hired onto Saturday Night Live in 1995, so I moved out to New York first.
Sure.
and I was on the show for a year, and then they didn't renew my contract, so then I moved to Los Angeles, and I was fortunate enough to get work right away, and I've been fortunate enough to work ever since.
Yeah, that's great. So then, right now you're working with Superior Donuts, and amazing cast. I mean, Judd Hirsch, Monster Brownie, Katie Seagal. So, like, how fun is that? And what's the key, do you think, to getting a cast like that? And what's it like working with such a rich, deep cast? I mean, you've been blessed with both the Anchorman movies and these to have really deep benches of talent around you as well.
Well, that is true. I mean, when you say it, but I mean it. It's we are blessed with a truly remarkable cast. They're not only deeply talented and professional, they're good people, and we actually all enjoy each other's company. But week after week, I'm just impressed about how talented this group of people is. From not only the cast, but obviously the writing and the showrunners and the staff, the writing staff. They're all very deep. So we're blessed to put on this fun little play every week. So you said, what's the key?
I mean, well, obviously,
I know it was a two-part question, so I'm trying to remember the first part.
I was just wondering, like, if you have any idea how something like that comes together. And I realize, there's a casting person that decides these things, but that's
well, yeah, it's it's the show, of course, is based on a play by Tracy Letts, who has had a remarkable year. I think he's in 2 Oscar-nominated films. You can see Tracy Letts in Lady Bird. You can also see Tracy Letts in The Post. So not only is he a remarkable playwright, he's a great actor as well. His most popular play being, of course, August Osage County. But he had written Superior Donuts in the mid-'90s, I believe. I might have it wrong. But anyway, I believe it was the mid-'90s. And people had thought that it might be a good source material for a sitcom, and they had tried several adaptations. And then Bob Daly and Neil Garrett and Neil Goldman and Garrett Donovan got the opportunity to take a swing at it, and CBS took a chance on it, and I think they got it right. I hope they still think that. But I was fortunate that I've been doing this a long time, and I think I had a few people who had known my work over at CBS, and I was fortunate enough to be given the role.
Oh, that's great! Wow.
Yeah.
So,
but I think it was my turn.
Well, absolutely, man. I mean, it's certainly been around.
I've been doing this long enough where I felt like it's probably my turn to be given one.
Well, I was wondering. This question just popped in my head, and I try to always go with my instincts, but God, I hope this doesn't come off wrong. But because you're doing, you've got such a great show now. You've got Anchorman and a zillion other things that have been really great. But then sometimes you do things that are so off the wall and bizarre, like the zombie, the Boy Scout zombie movie, or Piranha 2, things like that. Like, how do you decide what to do, or do you take? And I don't mean this in a bad way. Do you take anything on figuring, hey, I can always do my best with it. Just wondering, like, how you make your decisions.
Well, here's what it is. Here it comes down to reality. And as we know in life, eventually everything comes down to economics.
Sure.
I have a wife and 5 kids.
Yeah.
So that weighs heavily and first in most of my decisions. As you can see through my resume, I rarely turn down work. And trust me, there's some stinkers in there, and I know that. But it really comes down to, I have to provide for my family.
Well, there's still fun movies. I wasn't knocking them, so please
don't take offense. Oh, no, there's some good ones. I mean, Zombie Scout Guide is a fun movie.
Yeah.
Plus, I'd never played a zombie. That's, for me, that's, badge of honor. That, Snakes on a Plane. But I'm
Oh,
not going to
snakes in the
point
plane.
other
Yeah.
ones out. But there are
No,
some
it's
in
cool.
there that are probably regretful. But again, it came down to economics.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because as a kid, you'd always wonder why you saw your stars in some less than movies, and really, what it boils down to is you can never spend another guy's paycheck, right?
Yeah.
Everybody has a reason for doing what they're doing. That goes all the way to our politicians. A lot of times you're like, why would you, vote for this measure or that measure? Well, they're getting their pockets padded, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Or, yeah. I mean, certainly now with so much money in politics, it's never
Yeah.
been more corrupt.
It's incredible. Yeah. So then you're also, but you do, on the other hand, I want to touch on a couple things that people should check out that they may not have known about from you. Like you did dramatic acting in a movie called Priceless, and I'm interested in these issues also that was dealing with human trafficking. And I've done some journalism about this, and so I stay involved. I've done some, charity stand-up gigs for a couple times for these kinds of things too. So just wondering, like, how did you get interested in that issue, and anything you want to say about that movie? So people can be more aware and check you out in a, very different but really good context.
Well, first of all, thank you for saying that. I got involved in that because a friend of mine was a producer and asked me if I was interested. And yeah, absolutely. And then, all you have to do is Google, human trafficking, and you'll have tons of stories that will break your heart. In fact, I was having a conversation the other day with a friend of mine who has a company that is part of what their business is stopping opioid addiction. It's
Yeah.
an inhibitor. Anyway, he's met with all kinds of people all the way up to Homeland Security. And he said one of the most horrifying stories he'd ever heard, the thing that shocked him was one of the heads of Homeland Security talking about how bad human trafficking has gotten, and people are blatantly waiting in parking lots in vans for young girls, and they just snatch them, and then they're gone. And he told me a story about an ex-CIA agent whose daughter was snatched, and this guy tracked the guys down and killed them, and finally found his daughter in Mexico.
Wow.
And she's never been the same. I mean, so it's, none of us want to, go through life as paranoids, but it's a huge, huge problem. And, for also it's, something men need to second guess when they think about what they do with their lives and their money that might possibly support human trafficking.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, it's as bad an epidemic as many things that go unnoticed.
Yeah, well, I don't want to keep it too serious, but I was going to ask in a different order in this interview, but so we as well jump into it now. Do you have any thoughts about what's going on in Hollywood now? If not, no big deal, but about the whole Me Too movement and the things that are being exposed, maybe either from the context of the comedy world or from the overall picture. Any thoughts about that or not?
Well, I I thank God I've been married for 20 years, so
Yeah.
until my wife has a problem with it, I'm fine. But yeah, it's great to see. My daughters are all coming of age, so for me personally, I couldn't be happier that there's now an easier route for females to speak out, because it obviously it's been ignored or not seen as a real problem not until this year, but I mean, it's never been given this voice before, which is fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, as far as specific cases, I mean, everybody gets what they get, and I'm not going to comment on any other case.
Sure.
Those are all being litigated one way or the other.
Yeah.
And so, I guess it makes a lot of people second guess, and but if nothing else, makes people